Okay, and we are live. We are live. Yes, we are live. Okay, good. Good night. Good night, everyone. I just want to thank you for joining and welcome you to another episode of the District 81 Toastmasters podcast. As I say, this podcast is to engage members, highlight achievements, and to promote Toastmasters Month. It will be every Wednesday for the month of October. Today's episode is Contest Spotlight, and trust and believe we have a good one in store. I want you to help me welcome Toastmaster Mas Mahatir, who is a second world champion winner of 2025. Honestly, that deserves a round of applause. I have to give you a round of applause for that one. Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. And welcome to the podcast. And thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Oliver. Really, really excited to be here. And yeah, thank you. I'll be more than happy to share what I know about contesting. So hopefully we could inspire future contestants in Toastmasters as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. That is the plan. Inspiration. And I just want to show you the first comment we got. DTM Milushka is in the chat. Hi, welcome, Mas. Yeah.
Hi, Milushka.
Yeah, so we're gonna get right into it, and I'll ask you to give us a short intro of yourself.
Sure. So my name is Mas Mahatir bin Mohammed. I know it's a really long name, but I come from Malaysia. So if you're not sure where Malaysia is, we are on the southeast side of the world. So we are in Southeast Asia. And I run something called a public speaking school in Malaysia called Micfront, and I've been doing this since 2017. But I've joined Toastmasters in 2016. And the reason why I joined Toastmasters was because my boss at that time, I was working in a corporate training company. My boss at the time told me that in order for me to become a better speaker, a trainer, I need to go to Toastmasters to improve my skills. And that's what I did. Yeah, so I joined in 2016 officially. However, I unofficially joined Toastmasters since I was 5 years old. Yeah. And yeah, so I consider this unofficial because at that time, Malaysia, we had a few clubs, not that many, probably about six, seven clubs in Malaysia. And my parents were one of those early adopters of Toastmasters and helped to spread the Toastmasters movement in Malaysia. So they brought me to many clubs just to do table topics, just to do speeches and whatnot, just to get me to build my confidence. So unofficially a member for 20 years, but officially since 2016.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I just want to point out one thing. Yeah, since 5 years old. See, even Melushka is surprised. But I just want to point out one thing you said too. You said you started your own public speaking company in 2017, and shortly before that, in 2016, you joined Toastmasters. Hint, hint, hint. But I really appreciate you for sharing a bit of your Toastmasters journey with us. And now I'm curious to know what led you to enter the contest, the speech contest.
It's a very good question. When Personally for me, a very fun fact, a very interesting fact is by nature, I'm a very competitive person. Meaning to say, if I were to do something, I like to give my all, and I like to, I like the sport of competing. So whether it's in a 100-meter sprint, or whether it's in music, whether it's in bowling, whatever not, I am a very competitive person by nature. So when I joined Toastmasters in 2016, it was just the right time when they hosted the International Speech and Table Topics contest. I wasn't allowed to join international speech contest, so I joined the table topics contest. So when I competed, I had only one goal in my mind at that time. And that goal, as naive as a 2016 boy, was just to outperform my sister, my mom, my dad in the contest. That's it. That was my only goal. I didn't care about the growth or whatever not, because being a competitive person, right? And
Mhm.
fate would have it, I lost to all three of them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't even place in the top three. And that was a first experience for me to think that, wow, I have so much to learn. And something in Toastmasters here, in this club, in this society, this organization, there is something that could teach me so that I could go further. But as time goes on, that competition mindset about trying to outperform others no longer exists. Because now I realize that in competitions, you are not trying to outperform others. Your goal is to outperform yourself. That's where the real growth is. Yeah.
that's powerful. That's powerful. In competition, you're not trying to outperform others, trying to
Mm.
outperform yourself. I think that one will stick with me. I just want to highlight we have a Toastmaster joining from Antigua, Jaden Dos
Ooh.
Santos. Welcome.
Welcome, Jaden.
And just imagine our interviewee today is all the way from Malaysia. So we're all over the world. This District 81 podcast. Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Since you said you love the competition earlier on, I'm curious to know what did winning at the district level mean for you personally and professionally?
Wow. This takes me back to 2019 when I won my first district contest in the evaluation speech contest. I was a struggling contestant back then. Means to say that from 2016 to 2019, I have lost many, many times. Lost at the area, lost at the division, lost in many, many levels. And in 2019, I I tried my best to do a lot of other things. For example, investing in educating myself how to get better, how to get smarter in terms of contesting, in terms of understanding how this whole contest structure is like, and what kind of things that would help someone to win better, and what are some topics that I could improve in terms of my knowledge bank when it comes to learning public speaking skills, fundamentals, techniques, so that I could apply in my contesting journey. So in 2019, when I won, it was amazing. The feeling was crazy because I felt that whatever I've put into learning finally paid off. So personally for me, I felt the sense of achievement, a sense of pride. Like, yes, you know what? If I could do this first step, I think future contests I could do the same. That was the personal feeling. Professionally, of course, it did help as well. Why? Because when I won the district, it gave me a new sense of confidence. This new sense of confidence carried on in my career because now I could tell people, yes, if I could do it in a district contest like this, I believe I'll be able to help more people in my work, in my career, in my professional life. So yeah, it helped a lot.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I'll just get right into the next question. How did you prepare for the contest, both in terms of speech writing and delivery?
Hmm. So for those who are looking to join the upcoming humorous speech contest or the international speech contest is going to start really soon as well, how did I prepare? I believe would be very helpful for those who plan to compete. When I prepare for a speech contest, the first thing that I would do is I would start very early. For example, if the international speech contest is going to be starting, let's say in late December or early January for some clubs around the world, then I must be well prepared with a speech at least by now, right? A few months in advance, because you want to give your speech time to brew into a really nice tea or a really nice wine, like they say, right? So this will give you an edge over other contestants. Some contestants, when they do join competitions, they probably crafted their speech a week before, a month before. Nothing wrong with that. But wouldn't you agree that if a speech had more time to sit, more time to bake, it would become tastier? So you have to start early. And that's what I did. So for this year's competition, I prepared well in advance, especially for my finals speech, which is Raindrops. I created that speech last year around April. Yeah, last year, April, I wrote the speech, practiced it, went through many rounds to rehearse it and refine it. So I managed to use it for this year's contest after 1 year, 1.5 years. Then I finally use it in the finals contest. Would I be able to create a speech of that quality if I had shorter amount of time? I don't think so, because I needed to get feedback from an international audience. I needed to get feedback from many different types of people from all around the world in order for that speech to shine. So you won't be able to get that opportunity if you start your speech a week before or a month before. So if you can, a year before. That's what I did, and that helped for me.
I like that. For me, I took two things from that. Like you say, start early, but feedback as well. And any
Mm,
Toastmaster knows feedback evaluations is important. So, yeah, like you said, maybe if you want, you could do it a week before, 2 weeks before, but just know you're not going to really have time for it to brew. You're not going to have
yeah,
time for that tasting, for someone else to taste it and tell you, this
yeah,
tastes good, or it's missing a little sugar, you know?
yeah.
And I just want to bring up DTM Tashi's comment as she said, "Ooh la la!" I love that. Give your speech time to brew. I love it too. I like how you
Absolutely.
said to let it bake. Give it time to bake like a cake.
Yeah.
You just got me thinking of all these scrumptious things in my head now. Like I think my next I think my next speech needs to be about like some type of scrumptious meal or something. Like
Oh,
feeling
I'm
inspired
looking forward
today.
to that.
Like we have a question in the chat. So DTM Milushka asks, how do you get the inspiration?
Hmm. Okay. How did I get inspiration for my speeches? Is a very interesting process. First of all, what I would do, and I'm not saying that this would work for everyone, it would work for some people because it works for me. This is what I did. I would first search online to say that what are some current topics or current global worldly needs that the world needs to hear today. So things like kindness came up, things like unity came up, things like that. And when I see something that I like, a message, a topic that I like, then the second step is equally as important. I reflect back in my life and in my stories. Did I have a story that actually matches this message? If I don't, I'm willing to put that message aside because I'm not someone who wants to craft a story that is entirely fake or not real. Then people may feel that, man, this guy's not real. He doesn't, the way he tells his story doesn't feel authentic. Like something's just not right there. So the audience can tell whether your stories are real or not. So what I do is once I feel like, okay, I see that the world needs more kindness these days. Why? Because so happen that we are facing a lot of wars, right? A lot of challenges, violence, political challenges, and all that. So when I saw kindness as a message that I wanted to share, I took that and I started reflecting back. Was there a moment in my life that I showed kindness or someone instilled kindness in me? Absolutely. So my parents were one of those important people that instilled kindness to me. They are the kind of people who would literally stop the car in the middle of the road, tell me and my siblings to get out of the car to just help a blind lady cross the street. Raindrop, right? Things like that. They would ask me to do it. We would go to an old folks' home, and if an old folks was just sitting there, we can't just loiter around and just talk to our siblings. We had to go and sit down and talk to them, hold their hands, sing them a song if we wanted to, just to make them feel heard and seen as an old folks. So that brought back a lot of memories, and that helped me to shape the speech that I have today. So yeah, that's the key thing. If you want to find inspiration, look at what are the messages online that the world needs to hear. Because the more global the pain is, the more global the need is, the stronger and the easier it is to connect with a more global audience. Yeah.
Oh, wow, you hit so much powerful points there. Wow. Like, oh my gosh. I like how you drop the raindrop call back there. I just have to say, but yeah, I like that approach. Firstly, because even me, sometimes I go on like Google Trends and so on to see like what's trending in the world, what's trending
Yeah.
in certain parts of the world. And I love how you said, like, make it genuine. Don't just,
Mhm.
okay, I see something, this is what's trending, so I can make up a story around it. No, look for something that resonates with you, that's connected or connects with you, and deliver that, because then it'll be easier to deliver, because it would be
Yes.
relatable. People would really feel the message coming out of you. So I really like that. I really, uh, great answer. I couldn't have said it better myself, really and truly. That's a great one. And even DTM Milushka said, thank you for sharing that.
You're most
So
welcome. Happy to share.
yeah, that's a great one. Rainbow is an interesting title. It is captivating. Do you spend a lot of time on capturing an interesting title? Well, it's actually raindrops, but still, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. No worries, Michelle. Now it's rain dropping. Maybe my future speech after the rain is settled, a rainbow will form, right? So yeah, that could be a follow-up speech. So,
Ah, like that.
but yeah, the when I crafted raindrops, the speech, in the initial phase of the speech, I had many various titles. Initially, it was blue because the sound of the rain falling, um, and there were many, many, many different versions. Then I sat down with my mentor. He's a local mentor here in Malaysia. His name is Mr. Sim Boksan, and I really owe a lot of credit to him because he's the one who helped me a lot in this journey as well. um, we came up with the idea that okay, raindrops would be a clear enough title to get onto the world stage because people will remember that. And he even gave me the idea and suggestion, Mahathir, why don't at the end of your speech you snap your fingers and get the audience to snap along? He gave me that idea and that feedback, and I thought, wow, that was a game changer for me. So that's how that particular part was incorporated. But as for the title itself, it was one day before the World Championship of Public Speaking. After the briefing was done, I thought to myself, you know what? In my speech, I'm already getting people to snap. I'm already snapping. Can I potentially put that in a title? I've never seen a world champion or any past world top three speeches has ever used a phonetic title, which included a sound effect. So I thought, you know what? Let's take a risk. How about I just do snap, 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 right? Then I went on and spoke to my coach. I said, Coach, what do you think? Should I just snap the fingers instead of just saying snap, 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 raindrops? Just snaps. And my coach says, Mahathir, don't do that. Then I said, why? And she said, because if you just do the snapping itself without saying raindrops, people won't remember the title of raindrops. They just remember the sound or the snaps. So you want to anchor the title, especially if it's uploaded on YouTube, at least people can see the name as well. If not, on YouTube, it's just going to be what dot dot dot. People wouldn't know, right? So yeah. So the night before, I told the contest chair, the contest Toastmasters for the day, please snap your fingers 3 times. Right, left, right, raindrops when you do it. And thankfully, on stage, he did it beautifully. He snapped so well. Yeah. So when coming up with an interesting title, I think the title of your speech itself needs to capture the audience's attention right off the bat. Especially in today's age, our attention span is getting shorter. If
Yeah,
your title is catchy, you grab their attention even before you said your first word. Mm.
I like that. I like that. I like that. And like you said that, it made me think on the 2015 world champion, um, Mohamed Katani.
Tani,
He
yeah.
had he had his speech, The Power of Words. And let me just say, I listened to that speech even before I joined Toastmasters, and it was so powerful. Like, I loved it because of the message, but even also relating to what you said, the props and the those things that captivate and capture people's attention, like you said, the snap with the title is what people would remember. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like DTM Tashi said, the goal is in the details. The snapping definitely adds a unique touch, which I agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree. Totally
yeah.
agree. If we had our questions, well, we've been getting the questions. Everybody have questions. So DTM Tashi also asks, how do you manage moving from level to level as the pressure gets deeper?
Wow. How? Okay. First and foremost, I think one of the most important things, at least for me, is to remember my why. Um, the pressure is there, no doubt, no doubt. Especially if you have been a district champion, let's say an area champion, a division champion. If you have won some form of level before, and the earlier rounds, there's some form of expectations and pressure on you to perform. Let's say, for example, you have won division before and you join a club contest, someone will say, "Ooh, that's the division champion." So people will start having some form of expectations of you. So the pressure will always be there. And for me, the pressure was I wanted to be the first Malaysian world champion because I wanted to make my country proud and my district proud. Because Malaysia, we have never had a world champion. So that's why I remembered my why and I put that above the pressure. I put this as the main focus, almost like you are on a Zoom meeting, right? You spotlight that versus spotlighting that negativity part. I put that in the, I close the screen so I can't see the video. But the pressure is there, no doubt. But remembering my why did help me to keep moving forward. Believe it or not, for me, the biggest nerve-wracking experience among all the contest rounds is club, area, and semifinals. These are the three parts where I felt the most nerves when I compete. Club, because, well, I've won before. So in the club, they have a different look. Area, well, you're getting into the neighborhood among others, and these guys, they know you as well, right? So these are the areas where I felt, ooh, such a nerve-wracking experience, and that pressure is trying to take over the spotlight, but I have to keep remembering my why. Mm. I hope that helps.
I find that's a great answer in my opinion. Remembering your why, that's a great way to keep pushing through the pressure. I think that's how most of us get through the adversity we face on a regular basis. So that I find as a great answer. And I'm curious to know, what challenges did you face during preparation and how did you overcome them?
the the main challenges that I face during preparation usually is in the process of okay, it is in the process of crafting the speeches. Usually, delivery wise, I usually allow it to flow naturally, and if it works for me, it works for me. If it doesn't, I'll just record it and I'll see how to fine tune it. It is the content creation which is the biggest challenge, because why? When I craft a speech, sometimes as the writer of the speech, the author of my life, I would write the speeches down in a way that best resonates with my story, my flow, and the way I see the world. But sometimes the way that I see the world and the way I see my speeches, it may not land clearly enough for other people. To me, it makes sense because when you tell a story, subconsciously, you're filling in the gaps yourself with all the past memories, even though you're not saying it, but it just fills into your story and it makes sense. But when you put it down into a script format, you start to realize, oh my gosh, there's some parts that are missing. What? People couldn't understand this part? Why? I thought it was clear enough for me. And that would be one of those biggest challenges. The second challenges I also face is same thing. When you are writing your speeches, you are so focused in this world that if you try to think of other new areas to make the speech better, you can't. You can't see past what you have written because this is your world, your speech. So that's why getting feedback, right? Getting evaluations, like they say, right? Feedback is the breakfast for champions. You get feedback from a different global audience, from a different group of people. That's where you start to see that the potential of your speech could go further. So that's first for me. In the early rounds of crafting my speeches, I would always face that the roadblock, the mental block. Where can I take these speeches further? Why is people not seeing this part as how I see it? So, in order for this to be overcome, the first thing you have to do is this is what I normally do. I call it a creative purge. Yeah, which means that you are almost purging out all the ideas, all the script into a written form. Just write it out. Don't limit yourself. Don't say that I need to craft the perfect speech on my first draft. Let it flow. Once it flows, then take a look at it a second time. Then you keep refining it along the way, and then you start getting feedback to sharpen the speech. Yeah. So once you do that, you get out of that phase, and it's going to be a little bit easier after that. Yeah. Because once you already have a final refined speech, whatever tiny adjustments that come later is just more of aesthetic reasons. It's just more of sharpening the clarity. That's it. But the early rounds, that's where the challenge is. But you have to purge it out first.
Right, I purge it out. I was gonna say, feedback is the breakfast for champions, and DTM Milushka said it before I could have got it out. That one, like, just stuck in here, like, whoa, that's a powerful statement, bro. Honestly, and I totally agree, and I feel everything you said personally. Why? Because sometimes I say I have like perfectionist
Mm,
qualities, or I am my biggest critic because I always try to make things better, and it's like, okay, no, I could do it better. So I could imagine, like you said, the initial stages, but
mm.
then after you kind of work through it, and then like you said, you get your feedback, and then it's like, okay, other people feel where I'm coming from, and then
Yep.
you could take it from there. I like that. I like that. I like that. We actually have another question in the chat. If you were to win all the way again, what would you do differently?
If I were to win all the way again. All right. Before that, don't mind if there's someone walking past. That's my caretakers taking care of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is having a stroke, so yeah, she's just moving around to support my mother-in-law. So thanks for your consideration. Yeah. Okay. So if I were to
Okay.
win all over again, what would I do differently? Okay. Technically, this is what I did this year. This year, because I've won third in 2022 before. So this year, when I had the opportunity to go into the semifinals once more, I I told myself I needed to do something different. And that is to train like an athlete. Whatever competitions you're in, you are an athlete. You're not there just to show up and just perform and hope to win. That is one of the biggest challenges I see in new contestants. Oh, I'm just in here, trying to grow, and I just hope to win one day. Nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong. But if you have the intention to go all the way, hoping to win is a flawed mindset. Yeah, I'm going to be really honest here. So this year, I told myself I would train like an athlete. And so what I did was when the quarterfinals results came out, I went through 30 clubs all around the world in 30 days just to rehearse my speeches again and again and again, get global feedback, global audience interaction to see how they feel about my speeches. That's what I will do. That's what I did. So next year or the future years, if I do join the contest again, what would I do differently? Well, if this year was 30 clubs in 30 days, I think I'm going to go way more than that. Maybe 40,
60.
maybe 50, maybe 60. Who knows, right? Who knows? But I have to admit, it was a very tiring experience, even just to go through 30 clubs in 30 days. Really tiring. So, but that was what I'm going to do because if I were to take this seriously, I would do that. Mm.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. By saying train like an athlete. I love that word. Made me think on like LeBron and Kobe and those guys,
Yeah.
like putting in hours, like really practicing. I like that. I like that. But that's a good approach. And like you said, just crafting what you already put together, that you already know it's quality. So just fine tuning it. Like we said, it's like you already made the brew, and now you're giving tests and tastings so
Yes.
that you could see if people like it. And the more tastings, the more feedback, and the more feedback, the better it'll become. So I like it. Oh my God, our time is flying. So one thing I have to mention, I have to touch on that you mentioned is about a mentor, you said. So I want to know, what role did mentors, club members, or feedback play in shaping your performance?
Mm. Okay. How I see a mentor, a coach, and Toastmasters members play a role in contesting, especially in it doesn't matter contesting whether it's a speech or whatever not. Club members are great because they are your general audiences, which means that when I do my contest speeches through different clubs and all the Toastmasters members who are so gracious enough to share their feedback with me, they're great content, great feedback because as general audiences, you want to see how they would feel as a normal audience, right? Now, some of the audience, when they give feedback, it may not resonate with your speech entirely. Nothing wrong with that. They're just sharing it based on their perspective, and you can choose as a speaker, the CEO of your speech, you can choose whether you want to implement those feedback or not. But here's the beauty of it: collect them all first, and then I bring all this feedback to my mentor. Then my mentor, I will work through and sit down with them and share. This is the feedback that I've gotten so far. What do you think? Since you already know my speech, what is your thoughts on this? So my mentor would then say, well, Mother, knowing you, this is something that I thought you can excel in. And yeah, this part, when they said about this, I think we can try to implement that. So a mentor's role to me, sometimes the mentor is not so directive. The mentor will get me to think a little bit deeper about my speeches. Sure, sometimes they will give me some suggested prescribed sentences or phrases or ideas to directly input into the speech to make it grow immediately. But most of the time, it's about thinking, no, I don't think that feedback from this person works. Let's try to focus on this instead. Yeah. So mentors are absolutely important because you need to have these people to get you at the right track because you can be easily overwhelmed by so many different feedback. It's going to be crazy overwhelming. Now, the role of the coach then is very different as well. The coach, what I would do is, again, I would take the feedback from my mentor because it's now been filtered, right? It's been filtered. Then I will bring it to my coach and maybe one or two comments from the general audience, which I thought was interesting. I'll bring it there as well. And I let the coach know, hey, coach, this is currently what I'm going through. This is my current speech. What are your thoughts on this? Ah, the beauty is the coach, because it's an investment, a coach will really dive deep, almost like an analysis, right? They would dive deep every word, every sentence, just to see, does this work? Does this not work? How would this person say it this way? So a coach's role works in that sense. So this three-layer approach, the Toastmasters members, and the coach, it gives you a holistic coverage on how to take your speeches to another level. Well, most people get stuck at the first level. Well, Toastmasters members just share some thoughts to my speeches. Sure, right? Those work. Maybe you may take good feedback. Maybe you might take feedback that may not sharpen the speech. Who knows? But when you have a mentor, when you have a coach, it does take you to a different level because you start refining those quality feedbacks into a gem. Yeah. So having this approach helps a lot.
I like that. And we have TM Rhonda Lynch, who said, I know a person's already working with coaches since July in preparation for this contest season. So yeah, I attended one to offer support and learn evaluations at that level.
Oh,
That's
that's
good.
beautiful. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And then DTM Milushka said, I like that holistic approach. Yeah, it's like
Mm.
levels, levels within the speech preparation, as opposed to the district and the different levels
Mm.
within the contest. That's levels to everything. Honestly, we've been getting so much interaction. I feel like we might have to go over. I don't know. I gotta call management. But but no, honestly, so far it's been a real great interview, and I just want to say thank you to the viewership for the interaction so far. And we have questions in the chat. I have more questions still. It's like what to do. But I just want to bring this one up from TM Michelle again. Did the 30 club visits help 100%? Yeah, she followed up a next comment with club visits. With your
Mm,
confidence before presenting on the day.
fantastic question, Michelle. Thanks for asking this, and I think this would be very helpful as well. Did it help me to get 100% confident? No, no, it did not. Um, and I would say this proudly as well. I don't think any speaker should be 100% confident. Um, those nerves, those the fear that you get with speaking should still be there because those are the kind of feelings that will make sure that you put in the work and put in the hours. Now, did it help me feel relieved to know that 30 clubs around the world felt that the speech works? Yes, it made me felt relieved. At least, okay, when I did my speech in the US, they understood it. I did it in Australia, they got it. I did it in India, they got it. I did it in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Philippines, they all got it. So I think I feel a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, but I was still nervous. I was still feeling the pressure, the fear of presenting that speech because it's so normal. It's a normal human experience, right? But that particular fear and nervousness is what kept me on my toes to do my best on contest day. Yeah. And I did mess up the speech a little bit. So for those who watched the video, there were some parts I messed up. Uh, but yeah, I think it's so normal, so human to do that anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, we are human. We're not perfect, but you delivered well. So that's
Thank you.
that's good. Yeah. Like my mentor told me once when like earlier on when I joined Toastmasters, he told me the audience doesn't know what you have on your paper or what you prepared. So
Yeah,
once you delivered it well, you might know the mistakes you made, but they wouldn't. you know. So, like I said, I'm my biggest critic. So I'm always like, oh my God, I did this and I had to do this different and
yeah,
I missed this. But it's like, yeah, they didn't know. Once they enjoyed it, once you delivered the message effectively, you did a good job. But I like that.
exactly.
I like that. I like that. So let me ask you on a similar note. How did the contest experience help you grow as a communicator and leader?
Mm. As a communicator and leader, it helped me a lot tremendously within Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters as well. The thing about contesting is this: when when we compete, sure, there is some form of growth that happens along the process, along the way as you compete, right? But if we really dive down and take a deeper dive into contesting as a form of growth, you will start to realize this. Let's take person A and person B as a compare and contrast. Person A does a series of speeches. They do their pathways. They go from level 1 to level 5. They got a few level 5 titles under their belt. And person B maybe do until maybe he does it until level 5 one time and doesn't really move to another pathway yet, right? Not to say he won't do it, but yet, but puts more focus and emphasis in contesting. From what I understood and what I saw, there is a stark difference between the two. Person A may have many level fives and maybe a great speaker, really good speaker, right? Engages well, learns a lot, picks up a lot of fundamentals, but it's person B who really has a more exponential growth. Meaning to say, I've seen a speaker who focused more on contesting, same time period as those who started their Toastmasters pathway speeches. The one who contests often are the ones who really see a difference in such a short amount of time. That's the growth that Toastmasters contest does. Why? Because when you go through contesting rounds many times, you are forcing yourself to make your speeches better, to improve your delivery. And those skills you can apply it back into your pathways. You can apply it back into your corporate day-to-day job. You can apply it back into your business as a communicator, as a leader. So that worked for me. When I started competing, I look back at my very first video and I cringed. I cringed so badly. I was like, oh my goodness, Mahathir, that was your first speech in a contest and you thought that was going to win? So very, yeah, I felt that way really honestly. But when I look back until today, I realized that there was a growth in terms of the way I communicate, which I saw that, oh, I started communicating more authentically. I started to communicate clearly, communicate with more confidence. And that in itself helped in leadership as well. So you may see contesting as a form of a platform to just speak and compete and hope to win, but the contesting, the gems that you get from this contest may not be seen directly, it's seen indirectly. It's almost like an extra points that you earn, and eventually when it accumulates enough, trust me, watch your video of your latest speech contest today versus your very first speech. That's the growth you will see. Mm.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. I like that. And I want to show this comment from Kim Michelle again. I said, thank you for your candid responses. Very engaging interview. Thank you. Thank you. My questions were based on how I feel, how I will feel if I ever reach that level. And
Mm.
I have a question on that note, which is for someone who has never entered a contest, why should they give it a try, or what advice would you have for them?
If you've never entered a contest, join a contest. It doesn't matter what contest it is, join it. Table topics, evaluation, tall tales, international speech humors, join it. And join as many as possible. Um, the first thing about this is that you need to know whether you actually like contesting or not. Luisa Montalvo said it best in 2024 during her interview when she won world champion. She said that you will never know where contesting will take you, right? Because it took her to the world championship and winning the world. Jocelyn Tyson, our world champion for 2023, she joined the contest for the very first time, at first international speech contest, and she won world in her first contest. That is insane. That's crazy, right? You will never know where contesting can take you. So my advice is please do join. The growth that you will get from this contest is crazy. The network that you will meet with amazing people is also amazing. This year's finalists, 2025, there were a few finalists who joined the contest for the very first time. One of it was Elaine Royal, the only lady who competed in the finals this year. First time competing, right? And already making it all the way to the finals. So you never know. And the other thing about contesting is this: when you compete and you compete often, again, as what I mentioned, you will start to see a difference from this year's contest versus last year, and then the next year's contest versus this year. It will always be an improvement from there. So my advice: join, start joining, get the growth, learn that ropes first, and then if you like it, stay. If you don't like it, at least you've tried it. Mm.
Nice, 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 nice. Gems, drop in gems, drop in gems. And for you, what key lessons did you learn from competing that you would like current members, current viewers to know?
Key lessons that I've learned from competing. Okay. First one, I think I've mentioned earlier today, which is start early. I think that's quite straightforward. The earlier you start, the better it gets. The second thing that I've learned about contesting is, and I think this is a very important lesson. It shaped me to who I am today, and it broke me away from a certain ideology. Now, when I started contesting in 2016 and 2017, 2018, this is what I thought in my mind. In order for me to win world, to become a world champion, I need to be like a world champion. I need to speak like a world champion. So I took heavy loads of inspiration from past world champions and I tried to emulate their style and try to be like them. And I've gotten a lot of comments saying that, Mahathir, that doesn't sound like you. Or Mahathir, why does that sound like a past world champion? And in doing so, it brought down my authenticity points. Because I thought if I wanted to be world champion, I got to do what a world champion does, right? But it turns out to be wrong. In a speech contest, yeah, this is very hyper specific to a speech contest. You need to bring the most authentic you on stage. No questions about it. The more authentic you are, the more real you are, the better the audience can connect and engage with you. Because nobody wants to see another past world champion in you. They want to see you setting the trend as a new world champion. Look at this year's winner, Sabyasachi Sengupta. He's very authentic, very natural on stage. He's just being himself, and he set a new trend in the world championship stage, right? So that is one thing that really hit hard for me. So from 2018 onwards, I realized, you know what? I will drop this ideology. I will not try to emulate past world champions anymore. I will try to bring out the best in Mas Mahathir. And from then on out, I started to work on that to refine it. People still say I was inauthentic in some contests, but as of late, I'm very grateful that they started to say, Mahathir, I saw you, I felt you on stage. That is the kind of comment that I really appreciate. Mm. So yeah, those two tips.
Great one. That's a great one. That's a great one. That's a great one. Love that. And we have Regis Mercera in the chat that said, love the tips. My question is how many times have you buffed and polished your speech before reaching the finals?
Okay. Thank you, Regis, for the question. How many times have I buffed and polished the speech? Okay. In terms of number of revisions for my finals speech, it was up until the contest day. It was version 120. Yeah.
Mm?
So that speech had 120 versions. Yeah, yeah. 120 versions. My semi-final speech has about 130 or 135 revisions as well. And yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. So when I make a revision, usually I'm changing a few lines in a speech or an internal structure that needs to change and input something new. Then I consider it as a new version. So I can always refer to older versions if I like a previous version, but usually I will just continue on because the new versions get stronger, right? So yeah, 120 times that speech. So I was my speech the document will be raindrops V120. Yeah. So that is the amount of time that I spend writing and amending my speeches. Because again, you brew it enough time, you bake it enough time, it's gonna get stronger, it's gonna get tastier, right? So yeah.
Like that. Refining the recipe. I like that. I would be afraid to be your hard drive. You see, someone said, wow, that is commitment 120 times. Yeah, I agree. I didn't expect you to say that one. That would caught me off guard as well. Ooh. I I I say I can't leave the questions in the chat, So I got one more I think I missed, which is from TM Rhonda, which said, how many speeches did you eventually prepare for the entire contest season from club for the entire contest season from club to international? So I
Mm,
guess I
I
guess maybe 120, 250.
Okay. For Rhonda's question, I prepared two speeches as per normal, right? Because you need one for the finals, one for the semifinals. So yes, I prepared two. But these two speeches, same thing. It has gone through many rounds of revision and repetition. Again, I start early. I start very much earlier. So when I started early, before I even entered the club contest, that particular speech that I'm going to use for club contest is usually version 30. Yeah, it will already be version 30. Then when it goes on to the area, maybe version 45, version 50, and then division. So you can see how it goes along the way, right? So it gets stronger as time goes on. So yeah, both speeches will undergo that intensity of training. Yeah. So yeah. So one thing that I did this year was I practiced, or rather, I swapped my speeches a little bit. In the early rounds in the local area, I used my raindrops speech to test it out because I felt that it needed more testing. Then I swapped the speech in semifinals to do a different speech, and finally use raindrops again in the finals. So this is totally okay to do in an international speech contest because the rule says that you can't use a semi speech in a finals. That's all, right? But any speeches before that, you can totally do that. So this gave me time to sharpen that particular speech because I felt that my semi speech was already there. It just required some aesthetic touches to it. Yeah. But I also, what I did was I tracked the number of times I practiced my speeches, which means vocalizing my speech, a 7-minute speech out loud. So I did this tracking from July 1st all the way to August, the World Championship of Public Speaking. The total number of times that I've rehearsed per speech was about 100 times. So it's a total of 200 times going through the speeches again and again and again and again. To the point that if you ask me to, if I go to sleep now, my dreams, I can imagine myself doing that speech, right? Or
I
at the
believe
point
you.
of time, if, yeah, right? I'll be dreaming of it. Or maybe someone just says that we're having a chat right now, and, and you tell me, Mahathir, do your speech now. I could do it. I could just stand up and do it right now. So it was that level of repetition and intensity that helped me to stay grounded and relieved on stage. Yeah.
Another good one. Another good one. Actually, this whole conversation makes me think on, they say to become a master, you have to put in like 10,000 hours.
Hmm.
And, like you have to really practice and be intentional. And yeah, that's basically what you're saying. You saw a goal for yourself to join and win speech contests, and you made an intentional path to get there. And I love it.
Yes.
We actually have another question in the chat.
Woohoo.
We really interactive today, which is from Tia Michelle again, which said, what would you say is your speaking style? Or can you switch styles based on your speeches? You spoke about including snaps earlier. Do you feel comfortable including such tactics? Well, I would answer that last one and say yes, you would feel comfortable, yeah.
Oh, there you
But
go. Oliver got my question.
but yeah,
Okay.
what's your
Thank you,
speaking
Michelle.
style?
Okay, so generally my speaking style is I tend to speak with high energy and high enthusiasm. Almost like how you're seeing me speak right now. This is how I would bring my energy on stage. So who you see me now and on stage is usually the same person. And that's my rule of thumb. If who you are on stage and off stage is different, and we're talking about a completely 180-degree difference, then people will start to see that you are not authentic as a speaker, right? But if you narrow the gap, right, make it closer, who you are on stage and off stage are almost the same, that's great. Audience will start to see that, yeah, this person off stage and on stage kind of the same. I can connect with this guy. Yeah. So that's a key thing. But generally for me, I am very high energy, high enthusiastic kind of speaker. So in my speech raindrops, you can see that I was, a little bit more animated when I speak. That's me. That's how I would normally do it. When I conduct trainings as well, I'm super animated to the point when people snap pictures of me for collecting photos, they will always take bad angles of me because my face will always show all sorts of like animated face, right?
I
It's
knew
really
that's what you were
difficult.
gonna say.
Yeah, right. And just to prove my point, if you actually go to Toastmasters International now, they changed the thumbnail for the World Championship speeches. If you see all the past winners, all the winners, right, or the finalists, Elaine Royal, Derek Lord, Hrithik, Sabyasachi, Allen, they all have fantastic pictures, but mine looks like it's so. Yeah, you watch it yourself, yeah. So they changed the picture. So yeah, to answer that question as well, If I were to change my style, I would still change it according to how I would normally speak. Again, humans are capable of demonstrating a wide range of emotions. We know how to show sadness, we know how to show seriousness, we know how to show excitement, but we cannot just stay at one style for too long. Meaning to say, we can't always be high energy all the time. So if there are, in my speech, when I talk about Ali and how that moment was low, I go into the way that I normally would say it when I am low. Yeah. So I'm not entirely changing or switching into a different mode, but it's still within my range and still within the comfort of how I would do it. Mm.
Yeah, be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
True to
Yeah.
yourself. And I just want to say to your last statement, DTM Tashi said, speech internalization at its best. Yeah. Eat, sleep, wake, speech. No, but that's great. That's great. And that's powerful. And as I see, we don't have no more questions as of now. So I'll just ask you this final question, which is your final words to encourage. What final words would you have to encourage anyone that would be thinking about stepping into that spotlight themselves?
Mm. If I were to share these final words, and I think it would be this, and it resonated so strongly with me. In 2022, when I walked off the stage from the finals, someone said this to me: Mahathir, your speech inspired me. I needed to hear that. In 2025, when I walked off the stage, people came up to me saying that, wow, I'm touched by your speech. Your speech gave me a new perspective. What does this mean? It means that when you compete, you have a story that could potentially change someone's life. As the saying goes, all of us have ambitions to change the world. And changing the world seems like a very big task, right? But one person may not be able to change the world, but you will be able to change someone's world. And that's through the power of your story, your speeches. In a contest, you are given the opportunity to speak to a wide group of audiences. And I can guarantee you, someone in that room needs to hear your story. They are dying to hear your story because that could potentially change their lives. So tell your story, go to a contest.
Power of words. Words are powerful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, this has been so great. This has been so great. Obviously, we've been here over time. No one has been complaining. No one likes they want to leave. I think if we close off, everyone is gonna be like, "Oh my God, it's over already!" But honestly, really and truly, thank you very much. This has really been great. You see, even DTM Milushka said thank you for joining us, Mas Mahatir. We appreciate your gems shared with us. Totally agree. I second that statement wholeheartedly. And for sure, we met the goal. DTM, as she said, the tea is good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We always got good tea here on this District 81 podcast. So, on that note, as you know, the goal is to inspire, educate, and provide value to members and non members alike by highlighting key Toastmasters themes being leadership, insight, and skill development. And honestly, you see, look, I was going to say great insights tonight, great
Thank you.
insights, and it was meant for me. I have, it's like I have speakers today. Because as I think it comes up in the chat. No, but honestly, this has been great. You really, really shared some great gems, some diamonds. And I really believe anyone listening to this podcast episode could take something away with them, some type of inspiration and motivation, some type of impact would be gotten out of this. So once again, I thank you. I hope you enjoy this interview. I hope everyone viewing enjoy this interview. As I said, we will be here every week for the month of October with some great topics, such as this one, contest spotlight. This was a great one. We'll have the district trio coming up soon. Have to highlight that one. And just know you wouldn't want to miss any of them. If you haven't seen the two previous episodes, go back and check it on the Caribbean Toastmasters, both Facebook and YouTube page. And yeah, you see, look, DTM Milushka had to bring it back. Feedback is a breakfast for champions. Yeah, yeah. We are so pleased to have you in the Caribbean Toastmaster
Thank you. You guys are
class.
so nice.
Well, you have been so nice to us. You see, we getting applause. I gotta give you another applause again for real. Yeah, this back on stage. No, but Anna Real, thank you very much. Thank you very much, our great listeners. You see all the thanks and praises. Thank you. Dear Mas Mahatir, great moderation. Oliver Williams, thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm going to share some of what I heard with my club and division. You see, so it's going places. The rest, they'll have to come and check it out themselves. I agree.
Oh, I love that, Rhonda.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree. So, on that note, I just have to thank all of you. Thank you, Mas Mahatir, for joining us. Thank you, our viewers, the ones who watching now, the ones who came back and watch after. Thank you for checking it out. And catch me here again next week with another great guest, another great episode of this District 81 podcast. Have a great evening. You guys stay blessed. Catch me here again next week. See you.